Okay, hey guys, how you doing? Yes, I'm back with another book review, and I would like to share this book with you today. Yeah, all right, it's the Cavendish Home for Boys and Girls, and it's by a Claire LeBand. Yes, so this is like a children's adventure. It's about children. Children is telling the story. It's actually about a young girl. Her name is Victoria, and she's in grade school, I guess about high school. I'm thinking no, she's about 12, so I'm thinking middle school maybe. But she's like a very smart little girl, and yeah, she's like the top of her class too. Yes, and she really is like proud of herself for it. She speaks highly of herself, which is nothing wrong with that. You should always speak highly of yourself. And she says this, she sees this boy in school, and she see he's always alone, and and he got this white streak here in front of his head. Like he has all black hair and a white streak. So everyone calls him Skunk. And she was like, well, something's wrong with him. I think I should become his friend so I can see if I can fix him, help him out so he could fit in a little bit better, and people won't be calling him Skunk, and he won't be walking around with no friends. So she goes up to him and say, "Yeah, my name is Victoria, and I see you don't have any friends, and I see that white patch in the front of your hair. What is that all about? Can you fix that? Have you ever think about dyeing your hair so that white patch can go away?" He was like, "No, I never really thought about it." And she was like, "Doesn't it bother you that everyone calls you Skunk?" And he's like, "No, it doesn't bother me at all." And she was like, "Well, I'm gonna be your friend." He was like, "No, I'm okay." She's like, "No, no, I have to be your friend because I'm gonna fix you, okay? Because you can't go out through life like this with people calling you Skunk, and you have no friends and no one talks to you. So I'm gonna talk to you and be your friend." But lo and behold, Victoria didn't have any friends either. She was all alone in that school. Like nobody really talked to her, and she had more fools than friends in that school. So he was her only friend also, and for a while, for a few years, it was just them two. They was close friends. They walked to school together. They walked home, and they did little things like go to each other birthday parties and things like that. And they'd be the only ones there. Yeah, but one day his name was Lawrence, and her name was Victoria, like I said, and one day Lawrence went missing. Well, she went to his house and she was wondering why no one was answering the door, and she kept knocking and knocking, and then finally his parents came to the door, and he was like, "Well, where's Lawrence?" He was like, "Oh, he went to his grandmother's house to visit for a while, and he'll be back later because she's not feeling well, and he probably be gone for some time." And she's saying to herself, "Yeah," but she's not believing the parents. I don't know why, but she does not believe the parents that he's at his grandmother's house and the grandmother is sick, because she's like, it's the middle of the school year. Who leaves, sends their child away in the middle of the school year and whatever? So she said, "Well, do you know when he's returning?" And they was like, "No, we don't know." And she's like, "What?" She's like, "Well, can I have like maybe the phone number or his address where he's at so I can write him?" And they like, we don't think that's a good idea." And she's like, "Oh, now she's like curious, like, well, where is Lawrence?" And I don't believe his parents. Okay, but prior to that, Lawrence is um he's like a music buff. Like he's basically a music major. He plays the piano beautifully, what is it called? Like symphonies and things like that. Yes. He's very good with the piano, and when they get a report card, Victoria, she's been getting straight A's, and she's been at the top of the class all her life. You know what I'm saying? She's always been number one, and she always gets straight A's. But when she gets her report card, she gets a B. In music. So she's like kind of very upset about that because she don't know how her parents gonna react because she's always gotten straight A's. She's always been at the top of the class, and now she's falling behind. Now she's going to be second in class, and it's another girl, and her name is Jill. She's going to be first in class, and so this is a problem for Victoria. And Victoria is talking to Lawrence about it prior to him going missing, and saying how and then she's kind of jealous of Lawrence because Lawrence got an A because he's fabulous in music because, like I said, he plays the piano very well. And she sits back and she talks about how good he is in music and this and that, and she really doesn't like music because it's not, it's not important to her. And then she got a B in it, so she really doesn't like it at all now. So, but she goes to the to the music teacher like, yeah, listen, you gave me a B in music, and he's like, yes, I know, and she's like, well, then she's looking at him and she's saying the music teacher looks so strange. She's sitting there with this fake smile and he just look weird and like with this extra enthusiastic about talking to me. It's just that he just doesn't seem quite right. It's something off about this music teacher. But he winds up changing her grade from a B to an A and writes a little note next to it. And she said, okay. He said, now you're happy now? She's like, yes, yes, I am. But the next day, Lawrence goes missing. Like I said, she goes to the parents and she's trying to figure out exactly what happened to Lawrence. And what's crazy, like I said, Lawrence was at the grandmother's house, but she don't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Because prior to that, Lawrence said that his parents was kind of upset that he was playing so much the piano. They didn't like the way the music he was playing too much on the piano, and he said that Dave was thinking about doing something, and Victoria was so wrapped up in her B from her report card for music, she really didn't pay what Lawrence was saying any attention until the day she came there and he wasn't there anymore. So, she's going on and on. She's looking for Lawrence. So she's talking to different people in the neighborhood, asking them about Lawrence's parents and what they into, and have they seen Lawrence or know how long he's going to be gone? Have his parents spoke to y'all and see how long they was like, mm-mm. But everybody has the same story. Lawrence went to her grandmother's house, but it's also a house in the neighborhood also. Maybe around the corner or down the block something. And it's the Cavendish Home for boys and girls. And she's walking by there one day. She said, I'm going to go here and I'm going to talk to them and see if they know anything about it. And so she goes there and it's a man standing at the door. He's the gardener. His name is Mr. Alice. And he lets her in and he's like, yeah, how you doing, Miss Victoria? She's like, well, how do you know me? She was like, well, we know all the children in the neighborhood. It's our business to know all the children in the neighborhood. And she's like, really? He was like, yeah. She was like, oh, okay. I was just wondering, do you know about the like Lauren's parents was the Mr. and Mrs. Purwitz? And she was like, well, do you know Mr. and Mrs. Purwitz? And do you know their son Lawrence? He was like, yes, we do. He was like, do you know where Lawrence is? Because, I've been looking for him. And he was like, well, he's away at his grandmother's house, I was told. And she's like, yeah, I was told that too. So she going around, she's looking, and she's like, it's something strange about this town and about this Cavendish house. So and this Cavendish home, and she want to know about it and whatever. So she goes to the library and she's doing all this snooping around and things like that. And the guy, it was like another teacher. He was an English teacher, and he runs into Victoria inside the library. He said, well, what are you doing here, Victoria? He said, well, listen, I'm looking up the Cavendish home. He's like, please don't do that. He was like, listen, they don't like you being newsy and looking for things and asking a lot of questions and things. She's like, what you mean, who? Who don't like that? She was like, well, some people just don't like it, and it's not good that you running around being newsy and looking into things. Now, if Lawrence is at his grandmother's house, you need to just accept that and go ahead and finish school and live your life. And she was like, no, I can't do that. It's something weird about this Cavendish home, and it's something weird about Lawrence's parents. Like, where is he at? So she's like on this investigation. She needs to find Lawrence because she's realizing that Lawrence is her only friend, and she really care about Lawrence. And so now she's walking around and looking, and she goes back to the Cavendish house, and she finally meets Mrs. Cavendish, and she's like, "Oh wow, look at her! She's tall, she's beautiful. She has these beautiful blue eyes. She has this beautiful dress, and just her, she's just sparkling and whatever." But and she gives her this candy and things like that, and they're talking and whatever, and Miss Kevin just said, "Well, I'm sorry that I couldn't help you, and I'm looking for your friend, and this, and that. But long story short, she winds up doing these investigations, and they keep telling her, she's talking to all the neighbors, and all the neighbors like, shh." Don't ask so many questions. Everybody got this hush hush thing, and some people looking weird and spaced out. And she's starting to realize that some people are changing, and the neighborhood is changing, and things is happening that she only notices. And so she wound up waking. She was going home one day, and then she woke up in this room with bugs all over over the walls and things like that. And come to find out, she was in the Cavendish Home for boys and girls, and that's where little boys and girls go when they're children that not doing what they were supposed to do and not being what society wants of them. And so they call degenerates. And so they winds up taking them and putting them into this home. And what Miss Cavendish does is try to change these boys and girls. Yes, try to get them to be like everybody else is quote unquote normal, and to stop the things that they're doing. And if they can't, she's trying to figure out, well, what happens if we don't change, if we don't get better? He was like, well, if you get better and you change who you are and she tortures these kids too while they there. It's crazy. And she said, if you don't change, if we do change, we'll send you back to your parents, okay? And you will live a happy life, normal like all the other children. But if you stay the same, it came to find out that she does something to these children. Yes, yes. It's a lot of them. When she finally gets up there in the dorm with the rest of the children, she see all the children from school that went missing and from the neighborhoods that went missing, like all children. And she was trying to figure out why the people forgot about these children after they went missing because Miss Cavendish was putting spells over the town and the people so they won't remember these children. Yeah, until they changed and, live life the way she want them to live, and then they'll remember them again. But prior to that, they won't have no recollection of these children. But some of the children have memories of these children, and everybody like, I don't know who you're talking about. Oh, they away, or this, and that. But it was a good story. It was a good book. She went on a mission inside here and Lawrence was at this home also because they thought he was weird because he was playing the piano so much and they didn't like the music he was playing. He had to start playing different music. As a matter of fact, they wanted him to stop playing the piano and listening to music and playing music, period. Yeah, she didn't like that. She said it was noise. hmm she didn't want any singing. She didn't want the children to be laughing or talking loud or screaming or yelling. She didn't want any of that. One other little girl who was there, she was Jill's sister. She was actually was Jill's twin, and she was there at the house. And what she used to do is she used to paint pictures. She used to draw. She was an artist, and she used to draw like crazy pictures of death and things like that, and scary photos. And Miss Cavendish was telling her, "No, you will not draw like that. You would draw nice, pleasant pictures of like birds and sunshine and things like that." Yeah, so what it was like a house to change little children. If they didn't change, you got to read the book to find out what she does to them. But yeah, it was a good book. I really enjoyed it. It was very good. And this little girl Victoria, I'm telling you, you know what it is? She was persistent and she wouldn't let fear stop her. And so, she did what she needed to do because most of the other children was scared of Miss Cavendish. They didn't want to, disobey Miss Cavendish because Miss Cavendish would torture you. She would hang you by your arms and your legs, or she would put you in a small box, full of bugs and things like that. And she also whipped you with on your hands and arms also. She did a lot, yeah. Yeah, she was Miss Cavendish. Yes, but Victoria she got punished plenty of times, but then in the end she suffered a little, but then she stayed who she stayed with courage. She was like, no, we got to because we just gonna deal with this. We can't deal with this. And what if and her friend Lawrence was turning 13 because when the children turn 13, that's when they decide whether or not they're gonna go home or she was gonna do what she was gonna do to them. So Victoria was like, no, I can't allow this to happen because Lawrence got in trouble a few times when Victoria came there and seen that Lawrence was there because she kept talking to him and Miss Cavendish don't allow talking. So Lawrence was punished, and she was thinking that Lawrence would not be able to go home since he disobeyed her. So she had to figure out a way to save him and all the rest of the children. So she went against Miss Cavendish. She fought, and she found out ways to get through this house. And it was funny because this house would change, and the rooms would change and things like that. And a lot of people went missing. Miss Cavendish didn't allow you to ask questions or go against her. So, and if you did, you basically disappear. You would never be seen again. So this is a good book. It was scary though for a children's book, but I liked it though. It was very nice. And I'm telling you, some of these children's stories are very good. I mean, they are very. very interesting, and I really did like it though. I enjoyed every bit of it. Yeah, it was good. I just was wondering like, what is she doing with these children? What's going to happen? And it was a pretty good ending also. Yeah. All right, guys, that was it, and I hope I'm gonna say thank you for joining me, and remember to like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. All right.